Your face, you're like a naughty kid sat there. Can't talk. Mark's doing the thing.
I'm glad you've upgraded the cushions, mate.
Well, mine seems worse.
I feel like I'm sat on
We're making cutbacks, Mark. What's wrong with my chair? Anyway, Ben, welcome back. It's lovely to have you, as always. I was thinking about this. I've just been moaning my ass off camera about everything. Now I'm like, right, let's go.
Get it off your chest.
Yeah, I have. Traveling. It's fucking killing me.
And what, your train attendants not let you on the train?
Mate,
Proper job's worth.
Just traveling. Don't start me off about the man on a fucking train. Well, in fact, start me off. I'm going to talk about it right now. What happened was, in the words of Jeffro,
Hey, Jethro.
my train got cancelled today. Hence why I was messaging you going, actually, it's 1:30, which is fair enough. Trains get cancelled. Yeah. Get me an extra hour at home. Brilliant. Got to Birmingham. And I thought, because I had to try and make, that's how you do it if you don't know. Yeah. I had to try and I was on a train line, right, there's one I can get, platform 9A or something, 4 minutes. I've got to get it. I was like, 9A's next, right, I'm on 9B. Yeah. Oh, brilliant, walked down. Lad jumped on the train. I was like, all right, mate, is this going to Nottingham? Because I had to get to Nottingham and over. He was like, yeah. I said, oh, brilliant. He went, no, it's too late. I was like, what? Literally, the lad just walked in. He was like, no, it's too late. So I was like, I thought he was taking a piss. I was like, yeah. Doors were locked. He said, no, it's too late. I was like, all right. So then he sort of stood there and I stood there. And I thought, got my phone out. I thought, well, there's one in an hour now. I've got to wait another hour. So looked up from my phone. He still stood there. Then he gets in, closes his door. Stood there for a couple of minutes. Then they drive off. And I thought, could you not wait 1 minute? Could you not just let me on? I mean, I'm sure someone listening to this is like, well, I'm a trained person. And I thought Mark was waving at me then. Don't talk about trained people. but it's this and that. But literally, it wasn't like I rocked up and the doors were shut. They were shutting. Like the lad just walked straight through in front of me. I was like literally 3 paces behind him. And then I got to thinking, Ben, and I'll let you talk in a minute. I could feel myself like thinking, I think I'm going to lose my temper. And you can just feel it. You're like, I think I'm going to lose my temper because I've had to wait and I'm an hour behind. Now I'm another hour behind. I've had a shit morning. I didn't get no sleep. Like this is why people, I think you had a little insight, when you see like someone losing their shit in the supermarket, you think, it ain't the supermarket. That's must be a build-up in their life,
always, isn't it?
It's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
and that bloke for me was nearly the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, mate, I can't cope. Anyway, and that's what happened. That's where I was.
I think there's a thing. Well, I know there's a series on. It might be a film on Netflix. I only seen it the other day. It's called Beef, and it's about this type of thing, right? That little things just happening through the day. You see this guy, his car's not working properly. It's like a little clip thing, they show it, his car's not working properly. Then the next minute he gets it started, his radio's blasting. He's like, what the hell? He goes to reverse out. Someone cuts him up. He's like, what are you doing? And they're looking at him, the beep, and he's like, what you on about? Like, and then as the guy drives off, he sticks his finger out of the car, and that is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Next minute, bang, he's after him. And he's chasing him down the road. I've been in this situation before, and it gets to the point, the guy must think, I'm not having this, starts giving it him back. And then, nearly crashing the road. And sometimes, you got to remind ourselves that there is a build-up.
Yeah.
Hey, reverse engineer this a little bit. And I talked about this on an Unbreakable the day we did exercise, as a session, but they must have thought I was going to talk about exercise. Well, that must have been a great session, is people saying that they were crying and listening to this. And I think it's the realisation. And, you get to that point with my health where I was 17 stone, you're like, well, this didn't happen yesterday, did it?
Nah.
It's a build-up. And you think, that train... In the corporate world, or this world of business and, the economy and the way it goes, what pisses me off, right, is that... And I think people should get 100% in anything that they do. If you work for someone, yeah. But they go on like it's their business.
I see what you're saying.
You with me, right?
Yeah.
And I had this conversation. I told you I was having troubles with the banks. I don't know what's going on with the banks at the minute, but they do not have a right in quizzing us. I told you, we was in investment circles and was like, hey, we were purchasing something from an established dealership, X, Y, and Z. And no problem, process the payment. Can we ask what it's for? No. can I ask you why you're asking me what I'm purchasing? Oh, it's to protect your... No, I'm the decision maker. You're the facility.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going through this process to and forward. I'm saying, no, I do not understand why you think you have a right to ask me what I'm purchasing under the umbrella that you're protecting me and you've got my best interest. What you're actually doing is creating friction. Because the longer my money's in your account, the longer you make money off our account. People really understood the banking system, they'd be mortified. Let's not get into that.
Tell you what,
right
though,
now.
I'm that bloke behind you, two people back going, fucking hell, I'm in a hurry. I wish he'd stop fucking talking.
But this is on the phone. Yeah, but at the same time, but the conversation
in
was...
the queue, like, come on, mate, come on, mate.
Finished, by the time, it's the same going on with insurances. The insurance claim I've got going through right now, the insurance companies are doing everything in their power to find a loophole not to pay, even though you've paid. You've paid in goodwill of, I'm insuring my vehicle, even though it wasn't even my... I was at fault. The insurance companies are sending people out illegally, trying to trip you up, right? Where they really should go to the solicitors. I'm speaking to the solicitors saying these insurance companies are rats, and they are the rats. They rob from the rich and they give to the rich, rob from the poor and give to the rich.
This has all come from the train.
Yeah,
I like
but
it.
I'm saying, but you've seen a lot of this now playing out. And the point I'm trying to make is, right, I said it to the solicitors and I said it to the guy in the bank. Remember, at the end of the day, we're just people. And the reality is, the same shit that you're seeing, that that's wrong. I know you're representing a bank as a worker, and I'm not saying you're the problem, although you're feeling my frustration as a person on the front line. But the fact of the matter is, your mum and dad's being affected just like this too. Your family's being affected by this too. You are the people on the front line. When you're seeing the frustration from the customer or just real people, you are the people that should also be addressing this for whatever senior management that needs to be addressed. The same way I said to this, because a guy said to me, Ben, you're doing a great job keeping these insurance guys at bay. Because I tied it, even the guy on the phone, they call him, it's like an independent investigator. Yeah. He's trying to manipulate me as if he was working on our behalf. And because I've got solicitors now trying to help with the situation, he was saying a few things and I thought, this guy ain't working for us. I can see what, but I actually said to him on the phone, it's parasites. Like these companies.
I would say like him then for a minute.
But he actually agreed and there's a conversation to have there. I go, I'll get him a little bit late, mate. But what you got to understand is that there's a 4-minute transitional and going from A to B. Yeah, I get it, but the train's still here. There's a friction of building up the day. I get it if it's going off and you're pissed off and all that. Yeah, and it's beep and you're
I was literally like...
Exactly.
All right, mate, how you doing? Walking on. Is it? And he was like, I was like...
What did he actually get
bang on time.
That? You know what? Who wins there? Nobody.
Well, he probably... Who knows? I did think about it though, because I had an hour wait. I sat drinking my coffee with my arms folded in Lyon. Other coffees are available as well. And I was like, I wonder why he did that. I mean, I'm sure it's the rules, but I was thinking, we had our junior on here. We were talking about maybe just making your day a bit easier. And it made me think, like, somebody going, oh, mate, Dad, don't worry, jump on. It seems like a small thing. But actually, that would have made my bloody day at one point. This is today. I'd have been like, oh, great. I can now get there an hour early still. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. I'm not going to miss time in the studio. Brilliant. I've rushed. Oh, great. So that sometimes little things. But train stations are weird places because when you've got nothing to do, there's nothing to do there really. And I didn't want to go off shopping, so I was like just sat. Like I don't have any headphones or anything. I'm just sat there, just looking round. People must think you're really odd doing that, mustn't they, to be fair. But everyone's just trying to get somewhere, aren't they?
It's a busy,
And amongst all that, everyone trying to get places, there's like I saw this old boy like trying to get up the escalator with his stick. And you don't notice until because everyone's got their head down.
You
don't notice, hang on, mate, maybe you should just let him up. Or everyone's got somewhere to be in 3 minutes, in 4 minutes, and catch their connection. I get it. It's busy old stuff, isn't it? But my little brain was sat there thinking it's a little bit like life in a sense. Because I was thinking, I want to write about something. I was thinking, I need to write some stuff in the next few weeks. And I was like, it's very similar to life. And the fact we're all just in our head, in our lane, for the most part, cracking on, getting kids to school, going to work, getting home, getting lunch, getting dinner, maybe get to the gym, bump, next day, da-da.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you lift your head up, you're like, fucking hell, there's other shit going on, isn't there? Like you can see things for how they are.
And then, I suppose that's bang on.
And also, go on.
Go on. No, I'm just saying, like, obviously, maybe adhering to rules for his job, great. But where, you see this a lot, again, the other two people from the bank and the insurers, is that those rules do not fit the outcome. And sometimes you have to bend them rules with an element of common sense and a goodwill gesture and human connection that makes a difference. And again, in life, it's not rules; it's these beliefs that we that we believe so much that it actually restricts our movement from going to platform or doing the things that we should be doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mind you, I was sat there thinking, what a funny... I was sat there for a long time. I've been changing trains all day, but I was sat there and I was like, it's a funny old world we live in.
Hey, so did you actually miss the train?
I missed that train, yeah. He wouldn't let me get on there. And then I had to wait for an hour.
So you ran about the same time he said he was getting or no?
No, because I could have got here an hour early. The original time, 12:30.
Oh, right.
But also... I could have because of that I had to get some different connections on this other train, so I had to bounce into Sheffield and come across anyway. But I was thinking, it's a funny old when you actually think about life. I was thinking, look at us all like a lot of ants just running round, and you've got to do stuff. You've got to work, pay your bills, do all this. But you're like, I look at people and think, I wonder what's going on in their life. I wonder what they're doing today. Like you can see the people dressed for business, cracking on. You can see the sort of people who might just be going somewhere with their mates. And you're like, I wonder what you're doing. Like what's going like what's happening with you? See the people just ferociously typing on their laptops all the way. You know, the people listening to music, fucking lad playing some music on the one train. I can't get down with people having their music playing out loud. That's my pet hate. That's how I know I'm getting old. You know when you're like, it's on the train, they just got their music playing out loud.
Yeah.
Like
I had that problem.
No earphones. It's playing it like walking around.
Some shite as well.
You're like, fucking hell, mate. Like,
look at the old days.
I don't want to hear your
put a
crap.
speaker in your shoulder and bounce about. Now people are pissed off with the... What irritates me is when people just lock off with earphones and just go into this little world and you're like, man, I'd have a conversation.
We're pissed off, aren't we, honest? We just get
maybe the whole reason with this guy taking a piss was so we had some stuff to talk about, you know?
Mate,
so
I don't know.
All as a reason.
All I know is I got here in the end, but trying making my way out of Doncaster train station, that was another mission altogether. Producer Mark was like, yeah, you got to go down. I was like, go through the bus station, go through. I was like, mate. Ended up in
now
time.
People understand what it takes. We don't just rock. When you hear this podcast, that there is some obstacles and setbacks in the way. We had this in the fighting game when the big people out of shape, right? Pissed up in a crowd, booing. Two dudes locked in some jiu-jitsu lock, and you're looking, going, do you know what it takes to get in there? Do you know the sacrifice, the time, the energy, the injuries, you know, everything that's got...
The
and
courage.
you think you can actually, you know, merit the fact that you can say this is shit or boring or moan. Same with football. And that's me sick. You seen the David Beckham documentary? You remember England?
Yeah, what they did.
All I
they
seen
treated him.
was men who would probably have an unlived life, who would never reach their potential, thinking they can take their frustration out on a man that made a simple mistake that probably didn't cost them the game because he ended up
What's the saying about the man in the arena?
But it went on for months, like, and I look back and go...
Longer.
You know, that victim entitlement where you're like, no, you ain't got a greater understanding. And I think that's why, you know, I have such a respect for anyone that's been honest with himself and I've got myself in a good position. I don't look at the position and go, this looks great. I think... Man, I can probably relate to what it took to get there. You know, that's where my relatability and respect comes from.
I don't think any achievement, whatever that is in life, whether it be material or fucking raising a family or whatever you consider achievement to be, comes without a little bit of sacrifice and a little bit of obstacles and setbacks. You got to kind of... It's
like
cliche, but it's like... It's never a smooth path, is it? It's like getting in shape. It's never a smooth path. It's like I said, any goal, there's always these things that go, this is in the way. And it's like, and that's sometimes where you can go, oh, well, you know, obviously not meant to be. Where you can say, how do I figure this out? Like, how do I get by this? What do I need to do? It's never going to be, anything. It's never going to be easy.
Well, I think anyone in our limelight has had this situation where you go, yeah, but it's all right for you. You know, I look at it and think, this is where your ignorance is blinding you.
But also,
you know?
I think very often if we've all probably done that, oh God. But then it's a little bit of deflection in us, isn't it?
Well, possibly. But if I've been in them situations, I see, you know, what I've always done, lucky for me, is I've asked a question. No, that's great. You know, Warrior, you know, was out in California, shut the whole room down. Yeah, I get that, but can I ask you how? Or what were some of the obstacles and setbacks? And I can truly appreciate someone's position. And I think that's why I struggle in school, because I was being told, and I'd go, yeah, but one sec, let me assist, which everyone congruent with what they were saying.
Yeah.
Maybe take them off path a little bit, but I just couldn't.
Well, also, you probably wanted to understand what was going
100%, but another person, and I get it from a disrespected point of view, that's probably my biggest trigger. But even recently, that's grown in me where I'm like, where can I take responsibility for this? You know,
why do you think that's happened recently?
Well, I think in the work I've done, I'm a lot more calmer and composed and not reactive. So I've got a little bit of time and space, and also from making a lot of mistakes, thinking every time, for a long time, the way I dealt with shit, if I was challenged, or if it was a threat or disrespect was a massive one, and I just fly off the handle. Now, I've spoken on a previous podcast that comes from an insecurity, a place of, I would say I was so scared that was just the initial reaction. But over time, with various things that I've done, the stuff we've done, all the training, all the work we've done on ourselves, Thai boxing was a great discipline for me where, for an analogy, I've gone into this gym knowing I could have a read and write, thinking I'm going to hold my own, and I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah, I think
right?
a good life humbles all of us, I think.
But what I loved was the angrier I got, the better they got. And they were so composed in picking the shot. That was fascinating to me, and I was like, the way they executed their punch and the way they kept the composure and the precision of what they were doing, for me, just thinking I just run at him erratic, which I think is the same metaphor for life. If you just run at life erratic with no control, you're going to lose control.
Yeah. I think curiosity helps when you're faced with adversity. If you can try and come with like you said, like, how are they doing this? How am I getting, how are they handling me so well? When rather than being more like, well, either like, well, that's all right for them, or they've had more experience, or rather than being like, ugh, it's like, how are you doing that? Like, God, when you get curious, I think improvement comes. I think that's probably one of the best attitudes, actually, rather than, because lots made a responsibility, isn't it? Responsibility, take responsibility, be accountable. Sometimes they can come across quite harsh, I think. I was thinking about this week. I was writing, and very often I'll write something and leave it in my drafts. Do you know what I mean? I'll like write it, leave it. Not because I'm ashamed, like, that's a bit, tough, or that's not very good. I'll always leave it in drafts. And then I'll go back and think, unless I'm like, wow, I was in the zone there. Boom, let's just knock that one straight out. I'll leave it in drafts. And when I come back and look at it, I'll be like, try and make it clear, or what am I trying to say? Because sometimes you can just say stuff without going, what is it I'm trying to say? Yeah. What's the point I'm trying to make? Where am I coming at? What angle is it? And I think accountability is overrated. Yeah. And I realize that sounds, well, how does it sound? Because let me put it this way. People come to me very often in my inbox and they say, I want some help, and I'm interested in your stuff, and, I want some help with X, Y, and Z. You're like, cool, brilliant. Okay. And, what do you think you need from me to be able to do that? Accountability, mate. I need some accountability. Now, people hear accountability and they think like, it's like me going, Ben, have you done that today? Yes. Well done. Have you done that today? No. Ben, come on. What are you doing? Come on, we got to get this done. It's important to you. Rah, rah, rah. That's how very often it comes across on social media. But when I say to somebody, great, what does accountability look like to you? Just so I know. People can't answer it. They're like, I don't know really. Like, and then very often the answer is, well, I want somebody to kind of help me. You're like, okay, with what? Well, I just don't know what to do. And it's like, well, are you after accountability then, or are you after some kind of coaching or advice? Or it might, sometimes it's, I just want to be around other people. You're like, well, maybe you're looking for community then. But I think people are sold accountability. I think it's a thing people are sold.
It's an echo chamber.
And it's sold because it makes, if I'm selling at you, it makes me valuable. Yeah. Because you need me to keep you accountable. And so you need me. And that's why very often, it's usually men that speak more like this to me, have come from something where, hey, I've been in something where I was getting accountability. I'm not in it anymore.
I stopped doing what I was doing.
So their life's gone back to chaos. Yeah. I need some accountability. So you need to learn how to self-motivate. You need to learn the difference between accountability and community. You probably just want to be around some people. You want a bit of help. You don't need somebody shouting at you and berating you. I will say to people, you're wasting your money. Don't pay me all the money I want to keep you accountable. Pay me so I teach you to never need accountability.
Yeah.
So when I'm not looking, you're still doing the things.
Yeah.
You still want to do them because you want to do them.
Yeah,
and you've learned how to motivate and you're not burnt out and it's all, you're focused on point and you like sharing that journey with somebody. But if you want some accountability, great. I'll just get my old man to ring you up every fucking day. Just fucking shout you over shit you haven't done. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just buy him a pint. It'd fucking be well happy. But I've just got this thing, everyone's now like, I need accountability. And it's like, is that just a way of, is it the person going, well, I just want to, if I'd have said that, was that me thinking, oh, I want accountability? Is that, oh, it's now somebody else's responsibility to make sure I do what I need? Or is it just because it's jammed down people's throat every day on social media?
Well, I think
you need accountability.
Well, especially in this industry, because it has been a big selling point, hasn't it? Oh, your problem is you don't got no accountability. Well, you need accountability to change your fucking life.
Anytime someone says,
hold your hand through this shit.
I want you to help me grow my business, and we talk about how passionate they are about it, and they say, I need some accountability. I'm like, you need a job.
Yeah.
Don't work for yourself if you need accountability. That is not the problem.
Yeah.
It's not you need somebody to check in with. It's support. It's steps, it's skills, it's that transforms people's lives. And if you want to put that under the bracket of accountability, and that's what you mean by it, fine. But if what we mean by it is, I need somebody to make sure I'm doing what I said I'd do, because I'm unable to make sure I do it myself, then there's not a willpower gap there. There's not a wanting it enough gap. There's a skill gap. You're lacking some skills. And when you learn them, you won't need that. And that makes the person giving it irrelevant. Fuck, what about, I realize I'm talking a lot there, but what about me? Oh, almost like I'm not even important in this role anymore. But all good coaching, we've had this chat, I think people should grow beyond your coaching. You shouldn't keep them there. There should be an end. And that it doesn't have to end. You may say, I just want to be around a community with us, for example. I just want to be here. I love it. Great. But you don't need to be here. If we create a relationship where everyone needs us all the time, I just don't see that as good coaching in this space. Which
the industry's been played with for a while now. That.
I think it's bullshit.
Well, you see a lot of the people are outsourcing their health, outsourcing their thinking, outsourcing their responsibilities. I wonder why they can't take, responsibility for their own life. You bang on.
Again, responsibility has been mixed up, I think. It's confused with ownership. It's like everyone has responsibility, you know that?
Yeah.
Everyone divides it up, don't they? Everyone has responsibility, the ability to respond.
Yeah.
But I love Sadhguru's take on that. I think we discussed it before. Your ability to respond is, yes, I have the ability to respond to anything and everything. Respond, not react. It's not, oh, fuck, I'm going to take ownership of everything. It's not meant in that kind of tone or language. My understanding of doing a lot of his stuff is, oh, I can respond to you right now. I can respond to everything. I can respond to that plant if it's alive. I can have a response to absolutely everything on this planet. And taking and owning the ability to respond to everything gives you choice, doesn't it? Gives you kind of freedom. That's the way I look at it, rather than it's my responsibility. They're two different things, I think.
Well, I can't remember who taught me this. I think it was Matt who said, you're only ever in a conversation when the other person's in choice. But often enough, we must have spoke to thousands of people over the year, and especially speaking to people through consultation, sales calls, stuff like that, bringing them through. You'd often find when you ask what they want, the first 2 or 3 answers, it's not the truth. You got to peel back the onion. And it's when you get into the mix and you're like, this is what it is. I think sometimes accountability can be kept of a shield to not be accountable or take on responsibility for the changes that's needed, Because we deflect a lot, don't we? I think I've said this a million times. For people who come through our process, the one thing that I respect from the beginning is that they've had to be honest and truthful with themselves for where they're at. Until you do that, you're going to live in no man's land, justifying your own bullshit, living in victim, feeling like you're entitled, pointing the blame, going through the blame, shame, moan cycle, and keeping that loop where nothing's getting done and feels like false progress and using a lot of energy arguing shit that's not worthwhile.
I think so. Yeah, I also think, actually, I was going to say to you, we used to run an accountability model in our coaching Unbreakable. It was checking on a Monday, checking on a Wednesday, boom, 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 checking your points with everyone.
But is that a service and of value rather than accountability?
Well, it was very much like, we chase you up, Ben, you haven't submitted your thing today.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, I hated that because we were always chasing.
Chasing, yeah. I felt it.
But of course you can tell, we've got obviously all the apps and stuff, so we can tell. And our engagement levels rose so much when the ownership became on the individual. It was like people were coming to us when we brought the leaderboard in, on the app and stuff. All of a sudden people wanted to be up there rather than us dragging them. Yeah. And I think it creates this like, I think when you're doing something for somebody all the time and dragging them, it's hard to grow, isn't it? But whereas when you're letting them come to, when you're giving them the space to figure this shit out themselves, they start to grow as an individual. You gain more confidence. You're there because you want to be. So anything, I think, works that way.
And when we see the biggest problem, I'd say with that is parents thinking they need to be accountable for the kids and control and micromanage the steps, right?
Yeah,
which I'm all, well, it is tough, but what's tougher is doing everything for them, and then they get to a point where they're relying on everybody else to do something for them. You've seen that with rich kids, you see that with poor kids. There's
any kid.
When you see kids, I've seen from more tall countries to kids that have had it well and don't even know how to wash a dish. I mean, bleeding, what's he called? That Rishi Sunak didn't even know how to use a debit card, did he? Talking about nearly a billionaire. Where does that really deep root from? But it's what I'm always mindful for my kids is try to give them the choice, give them the guidance, the understanding for an arena that, they've got enough information to make the informed decision. Because that's what's building character, opposed to reputation dependent on someone else's.
Well, how are you meant to build confidence in yourself if you never do anything for yourself?
And that's the reason we got, what is it, grits fell off the face of the earth. The average 60-year-old got more grit than the average 20-year-old these days.
It's and also the toughest job is to allow somebody the freedom to have their own experience.
Yeah, as a parent.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Parents, I think the more the emotional connection, the harder it is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like we can allow Mark to have his own experience because there's not, as much emotional connection between you and your son, for example. Yeah. Especially when you think, oh, I've been there.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you need to do this, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can say you need to do this, but people generally will still do it the way they think to start with. And I think everyone needs that experience. How often have we both tried to figure shit out on our own? We probably heard it and gone, yeah, I'm going to try it this way though. And you're like, don't work, does it? It don't work. Maybe that'll work. Like you need the experience.
100%.
Like you have to have that. But if you never allow somebody the freedom to have their own experience, I think that's why I'm big on freedom. Freedom of choice. Maybe that's why I don't like so much accountability all the time. I just know I've tried both models. And the one of allowing people the freedom of their own experience to figure shit out with some guidelines and some structure, but to make that their own and figure stuff out, and has actually worked better for us statistically if you want to look at it, from a data point of view. But
I think Unbreakable is a great example where it's currently at, and the message we give, we're giving them the skill. You got to be unbreakable. It's not our vision of unbreakable.
Yeah.
You've got to create this plan. You've got to, show up, apply this stuff. Some skills you might not want to use. Some skills you might get more out of. Some techniques might be better. Some techniques might be not. You might want to meditate in the afternoon. You might want to meditate in the morning.
I think we're always looking for the right way, aren't we? The best way.
But that comes back to curiosity again, right?
Yeah, it's mad. It's like, is there the perfect way to do something? We're actually talking about this off camera, aren't we? There's like a million different ways to skin a cat.
100%, yeah.
There's loads of great ways to get in shape. Just finding the ones that you like. There's principles that are solid.
Yeah.
If you want to get stronger, you need some progressive overload. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. But like how you choose to do that.
Yeah.
I always like the battle of nature and need. There's certain things you need to do. That's principles. But there's also your own personality.
Yeah.
And it's like, and your own preferences and your own likes and dislikes. So it's like, well, I have them as two guardrails now. It's like, I need to do some of this stuff because that's how it works. But if I get too far across to the need and go, well, I've got to do it like them, I feel like I lose myself. But I have in the past gone far too over to like, flipping out, I'll do it how I want to do it. And all of a sudden you're like, it's not working. I'm going against the principles of how this may work. I like to have them little buffers now. It's like doing. I know when I'm getting too far across to the need because I don't enjoy it and I feel like it's me. Like if you said, "Oh, sorry, to get fit, to get fit and strong." Not that this is true, but you got to go out and do loads of cardio. You got to run loads if you want to get fit. I'd be like, oh, fuck, I've got to run loads. I'd be miserable. Some people would love that.
Yeah.
But if you said, oh, you can do it playing football, 5-a-side, and you can do it walking the hills, oh, yeah, that's a bit more me. Like I'd be achieving the same thing, but with a way that aligned with my preferences.
Yeah, well, that's the gold standard, mate.
Same with podcasting, right? Everyone keeps telling me ways it needs to be and do it this way and this is the way it works. But I can go, well, that person does it like that and it works for them. That person does it like that, it works for them. That person does it like that for them. Mate.
Could say in 10 years, Ben, that podcast was a load of shit. We'll go, well, we enjoyed it all,
well, that's what it's about, really. It's about us enjoying it. But I just think, it leads nicely. We could talk about these topics all day, but I've been thinking a lot about this week. I'm writing bits down. It's like you'll always be told there's a certain way to do things, but also you very often get told there's a certain way to be or not be. And there's different. You're always going to be too much of some things for some people. You and those exact same things, you're not going to be enough of them for somebody else.
Mm.
And I think it's easy to lose yourself in personal development. I go back and think, well, maybe there was a patch in my life where I was trying to be too philosophically sage. Do you know what I mean? I lost a little bit of what I was about. In essence, you start morphing into this different character because this is what you're reading and doing. This is the way to be. And I think people come into our world and they think, I want to change something. This is the kind of statement I was trying to get around in my head, just for my own thinking. And you talk to a lot of people, I read a lot of forums, talk to a lot of people, and people roll in and they think, I've got to be someone else to create these changes. Mm. And it sounds a little bit cliche, but by the end of it, they realize, no, I just needed to be myself.
Stop being strawberry and be vanilla.
Yellow darling. But it's true. It's like, oh, I didn't need to be anyone else. I just needed to be me because I forgot who I am.
But me and you,
because life's lifed me and hit me around, and I forgot. I've got to be them. I've got to live like this, and I've got to be this way, and I should be calmer, and I should be this, and I should like these things, and I shouldn't like those things. And it all feels wrong, and you don't know where you're scrabbling around trying to figure, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
What am I about? Because that changes as life changes. I think it's always changing. But then at the end, you're like, maybe I just need to be me.
But I also think that because we both had very similar experience with this and we know a lot of people that could probably relate to what we're saying, is that I think there's a teething stage that you have to do that to then realise I'm not being me. Because at the beginning you're like, I need to be someone else. Then it's like, actually I'm not being me. And it's a contrast that goes, all right, that's right. Because me and you've both done this shit.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? And again, you say the people you're around will influence that. You can see in our programs when people coming through, the language starts to change. And this is what the event is for tomorrow. There'll be people to help, hold a conversation with language that they probably come with a mate down at the pub.
Yeah,
true. You know what I mean? So it does indoctrinate to some degree, but you can still be yourself with that progress.
Yeah.
In terms of the morals, the values, what you stand for, what you want. And
something worth figuring out. I think it's something worth spending a bit of time on sometimes, going like, stopping one day and just going, what do I want for myself? What am I about? What are my values? And I don't think you need to do all this sort of, again, personal development-y stuff. I think you just need to talk like a human being to yourself and think.
Well, look at the first question you ask. Get clear. What do you want? I've got a clue. Brilliant. Divide a page in half. Write on one side what you don't want.
What you don't
it's
want.
Usually the opposite. We had this the other week. I feel so ashamed that I did X, Y, and Z. Brilliant. That's telling you don't do that shit again. Instead of, I feel so bad, turn into a puddle. Oh my God, I'm a bad person. I shouldn't have ever done this. It's out of character. And you look and go, you just got your finger burnt on the stove. Don't put you under that stove
Every
again.
Experience is pretty much sharpening your preferences on life if you let it.
Well, you've just nailed it. That's how it should be, right?
If
someone's listening to this now and go, I hate doing that shit.
Yeah.
And I love doing that shit. well, there you go, fine tuning your preference now of the shit you should be doing probably on a daily basis. So what was that stuff? Do this 80% of the time. Probably do this, 15% of the time, and do this 5% of the time.
Yeah, in chain. We talked about that ages ago, didn't we? Like, rather than do this, don't do this. It's like, do this most of the time. Do this some of the time.
Yeah.
Probably do that rarely. It's not like you can't do that, you must do that. It's like on a scale, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you do this most of the time, you'll be all right. Do this stuff some of the time, you'll be all right. Do this stuff, you can still do it, but don't do it so much. Do it rarely.
Yeah.
But if you think sometimes when we're stuck, we've probably flipped it the other way around. With the stuff we should be doing rarely, we're doing all the time. Stuff we should be doing all the time, we're doing some of the time. You're like catching yourself up. I was talking about that on Academy. No, High Performance Mind, and I don't think you were there actually. And I was saying like, well, sometimes like we don't help ourselves. Like, I've been moaning about sleep. I'm not getting any sleep, flipping out, because I sleep well. But it's like little girl in a house, little baby kicking around. It disrupts your sleep. They go through these cycles where it's like, yeah, I'm not sleeping. Why?
I know, please.
You were, but not anymore. Not anymore. Right. I've decided I'm going to grow, so I'm just going to be disrupted and I'm teething. So, just deal with it. But all of a sudden you think, I'm not sleeping. But then, rather than go to bed a bit earlier, I'm going, I ain't getting no sleep because baby keeps waking up in the middle of the night. But I'm still up at 11:30 watching flipping Rick Rubin on YouTube. It's like, what am I doing? I'm not helping myself. Why didn't I go, I'm not getting no sleep, I'll go to bed earlier. That might help me.
Yeah.
We just don't do it, do we?
No.
But I'm flipping out. No, but I think preferences is crucial. So as we've learned from today, I won't be traveling by train much. It's like,
well, that's
how
why
you going to travel?
Up here now.
Nah, not by train.
That is why I drive up here now, because I missed a train on the way back. I remember I had 2 minutes sat there waiting for, I'm not doing this again. I'm coming in the car.
Yeah, because it's like your own space,
Well, just to, the perfect analogy of going, I tried some shit, it didn't work. I'm not going to be like, I'm the worst ever train driver, rider, whatever it is.
Train driver, rider? Well, how many train drivers are you riding?
I don't know. I'm thinking I've ever drove a train. No, I've never drove a train.
I was thinking of some ice.
Yeah, I flew a plane.
You flew a plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lancaster, the Blackpool to Lancaster, and it sounded like it was going to fall apart, mate.
Did it?
Little tin pan, yeah. And you have to share it with, because it's an experience, got it from, one of my mates got it for my birthday. And I'm sat, don't know how, 2,000 feet in the air. And I've got a driver I don't know, driving the plane. And some geezer I've never met in my life on the other side of it, thinking, he might be having it could just tank this. I'm thinking, what am I doing in this? Yeah, it's that loud. You have to wear like these earmuffs. It's rattling.
So you didn't fly like a Boeing or anything? It's a bag of
spanners. But when you're in control of the plane, that was different. And you just got to keep the top, the tip, on the horizon, and just keep it going. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm in control here.
I think that's the hard thing about flying. I don't mind flying, but I haven't flown for a little bit. I was flying all the time, but now all of a sudden I'm like, it's a control thing, isn't
100%.
it?
That is still to this day my issue with flying, and always will be.
I wouldn't mind knowing, if I was sat in the cockpit having a chat with the driver, if we want to call him the driver, what is he, the flyer? The pilot?
Pilot, that's it, driver.
The flyer, I'm going to call him from now on.
The flyer.
The flyer.
The driver.
If I'm sat next to the flyer, I'd be like, sorry, Mark, I'd be all right. I'd be like, what's going on then? Yeah, a bit of turbulence coming up. I know. Don't worry about that. It's just, yeah, cool. When I'm sat in the back, and the trouble is, this is the algorithm on Facebook. I watched a clip of like terrible landings or something. So now I just get all plane videos. And it's like terrible turbulence on a plane. It's like 50 people just jumping up and down. People screaming. You're like,
You see what, to give fact, shout out to all the air hostess, because if that plane makes a noise or moves in a way that panics me, the first thing I do is look at their face. I want to see any signs of distress, but they're usually just calm, collected, done this thing a million times, and I'm like, I'm cool. They're cool, I'm cool, everything's cool.
Mate. I had that on the way back from America. I think I've told this story on here, but I'll always remember, it was that turbulence where they strapped the air stewardesses in, air stewards, whatever. And you're like, everyone sit down. We were coming out of America, and it felt like we were just dropping. You just drop. And a woman next to me was crying. And I was like, I can't. You just sat there sweating.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't like this at all. Like, everyone's quiet. People are upset. She's crying. I put a bloody mindfulness thing on the TV. Plug my earplugs in. I thought, brilliant. Let's just get some peace out. And he went, take in your surroundings. I don't want to take in my surroundings. Jesus. She's crying. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. No. I want to get away from the surroundings right now. But yeah, it's a control thing. And it's also when you haven't done anything for a while. I think when I was flying all the time, I was like, amazing. I haven't flown for a while. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to fly all of a sudden. But I will.
Of
I'll
course.
fly and go, it's all right.
Of course.
This is a common theme for this chat. It's like trying shit. Because when you try stuff, you may not like it. But if it should tell you maybe, okay, well, I don't like that. It should sharpen my preferences about what I do. And if you do like it, you're like, wow. I've learned to trust that a little bit in all the stuff I do now, business, life. It's like when I feel good in myself, when I'm not tired or whatever, if I'm like, yeah, I'm liking this, that's a cue for me to go, yeah, this is good. If I'm like, God, I just don't want to be doing this, probably a cue of like, no, I need to steer away from that. You know, as opposed to like, I've made the mistake of keeping on trying it. And I keep doing it this way. I hate it. I'll do it again. I still hate it. I'll do it again. I still hate it. You know, how many times we go back to shit that didn't work? I hope it works next time.
Albert Einstein's
every
definition
January.
of insanity, right? But then not trying it. I always say to my little girl, I just try it. Just try the food.
Why don't we try things?
I think, there's a lot to it, but I think the expectation that we put on it, the assumption and presumption of the fear, failing, it depends what it is. But I think that we put, without trying it, we build this belief of what the outcome would be. That's usually the sense in it. And when you're like, oh shit, I couldn't have that as one of the outcomes, pretty ignorant to think that there could be thousands of outcomes. But then we go, I don't want to experience that, so they'll stop.
Yeah, do you think we're afraid of failing, afraid of
I think that's
looking stupid? And
I think that's the common language that's used, but it's deeper rooted than that.
it must, yeah. And also sometimes if you've tried something and it don't work out, maybe it leaves you with a little bit of kind of, God, now I know that ain't going to work out. Sometimes it's better just to sit and not know. Sometimes it's better not to get the no, is what I'm saying. We, in our own psyche, we feel more comfortable going, well, it's like, that could work out, But then if we try it and it doesn't, it's like, shit, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to get better. We don't like that reality, so to speak.
Yeah, but by default, at some point, that's going to happen either way, innit?
Of course.
That's what the great, and then you could come back. That's why we like to educate. We teach. We give people great knowledge because they can start understanding this, a better observation, more awareness. Because when you tunnel into that one thing, you can just tunnel vision and lose all other senses, innit? And you think it's very binary that A equals B, and it's like, no, actually, it isn't the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you think from us at a starting point, people out there, say somebody wants to start a business. And they do all the stuff, all the thinking about it, all the planning, but they never pull the trigger. Is it because we're afraid of pulling the trigger?
Yeah.
And then when we go, oh, it don't work.
Yeah.
Like we lose that bit of hope. Of
course.
That's. Yeah,
but then
you're saying from there, then we go, well, what now? Like, because it never always works out, right?
Yeah.
What now? Where do we go from here? And we know that because we've made that leap.
Yeah.
And gone, and then made that leap again where you go, oh, this ain't worked out. What can I try? Whereas I think if you sat waiting. Yeah, never making the first leap, you get to keep the idea that it might work out. All the people who say like, I could have been a football player, you're going to get that a lot.
Yeah.
But I just like going out. They all think they're George Best, I just like going out too much, too much of the women. It's like, oh, you're not George Best. You weren't sleeping with Miss World, were you? It was fucking Mandy from down the road, wasn't it? Chill out. But it's like, there's this like, I could have, but I didn't, and they like to keep that, I could have.
The painful past.
Well, they like to keep the could have.
Yeah, the could have.
I could have, couldn't I? But I didn't. Yeah, I could have. Rather than going, I tried and I just didn't. Maybe we like to keep that little fantasy.
Well, don't you think it's innate in us? Like, we don't, from a baby, think, should I stand up or not? Now you get up, you fall down. Oh, shit. Oh, I got up, I took a few steps, I fell down again.
Yeah.
And we lose that. Maybe it's the conditioning, maybe it's society that we kind of lose that sense of not needing things to be perfect, learning from mistakes, not judging our reputation, but really fulfilling our character, and because for a long time, I think you got to be being able to embrace the wobble, regardless where you are in life. And if you think you can tiptoe yourself safely to death, that puts a fear of God in me. I got a friend all the time who goes, why do you want to do that? She goes, I'm scared of what? I don't know. Do you
think we just tell those stories? I think. Do you think sometimes we just get the loop stuck in our head? Why are you not doing that? Well, I'm just afraid. It's like, check in with yourself. Are you really?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? I don't know. It's like, I don't think you are afraid. I think you just keep telling yourself that.
But we go over this about emotion, and we like to teach emotion from a sense of feedback in it, like sensors on the car. So let's forget business. Let's forget all this modern day stuff. Our true instincts. We're about to walk in a cave. It's dark. You know there's a potential of danger in there. They say we're wired for survival, but I'll argue that any time of the day that we're not wired to survive. We're actually wired to thrive. Survival is a mechanism to thrive. But if I'm wired to thrive, and there's going to be a dangerous dark cave that I possibly need to sleep in with my family in the shelter, that curiosity and them senses that I need to step into the dark for any potential danger, the last thing I want to be in there is happy or not concentrating and not focused and thinking about, tomorrow. I need everything to kick in, right? I need all the senses kicking in. And that's where this gap in going into an uncertain area helps making sure that the danger that's in there limit the possibility of getting took out. So I think because that's innate in us, but in this modern day, you ain't walking into a dark art cave that's got potential danger. You just could possibly fail, or someone could say no, or someone could reject you, or you could fall flat on your face, or you could go into a Thai boxing place like me, think you know it all, and get your ass kicked out of you.
I think if I was to pull it back to me personally, I'd think I was never afraid of not finding out. I was never afraid of finding out that what I was going to do and wasn't going to work, I don't think. I think for me, I was always afraid of finding out that I wasn't good enough. That's the little fear.
But if you don't
like,
try, then you're not good enough, are you?
Of course, and that's the logical sense, right? Yeah, exactly, of course. But there's this fear of like, what if I'm not good enough? And it's very hard to feel the difference between what if I'm not good enough at this and actually what if I'm just not enough?
Yeah.
I think there's a lack of enoughness.
But then when you ask them, I've asked this a million times, I
society.
feel like I'm not this, I'm not enough, right? And I'm going to go, what is enough? They can't even explain what enough is.
Of course not.
And that's, again, the same thing. There's a deep-rooted cause. We're justifying a lot of this bullshit with stories that we're probably hearing in an echo chamber and herd mentality. I had this through lockdown because I was done the opposite what everyone was saying to do. And that wasn't out of ignorance. That was really out of my moral compass going, this does not feel right to me, my heart. All my senses were kicking in. Those people on the TV, that tone does not register with me. I hear things that just do not connect with. I need space. I'm more concerned of the fear mongering, the scare,
Do you remember when on the news about 5,000 people turned up in like the Scottish Highlands or something, sending people over? What are you looking back at that time of our life?
Doing
you're
the
like,
500.
You're like, okay, now, like, what's going on here? Like, what was going through people's heads?
But I mean, people do. I don't know. I've got on that topic, but the point being is having that ability of tuning into those senses which are innate, rather than sometimes synthetic. And you've taught us this well, the neural pathways that you create and then patterns of behaviour. They're like a drug, they need feeding, right? Yeah. And you create a new neural pathway that's going to change, that's completely nowhere near the bandwidth or the fibre optic thickness of this one. You've got to create a new one. There's obviously that change, that sense, that pattern of behaviour. So obviously that's a big topic in itself. But to change that, are we changing it, or are we just trying to get back?
Oh man, I don't know. I just, the battle of enoughness is something I think moving to that. It's just everywhere. This enoughness. That's why, if we circle back around, we're talking about people saying, I need to be somebody different. And then having this realization, well, maybe I'm enough as I am. A lot of people would say, like, oh, you can never, no, because then you'll stop striving and things like that. Mate, you can always get better. It's like, yeah, you can get better at things. But I think more importantly, liking who you are.
Loving.
Yeah, loving whatever, who you are as a person, understanding yourself, understanding you have flaws and all that. It puts you in a position where you can tolerate, maybe embrace the failures of life much more gracefully when you are kind of I always think to myself, what am I?
Like Eminem on the mic when he does embraces everything.
And you can't indulge it and be like, this is just who I am, like, take me as I am and all that, because then it's like, you're just indulging it. That's still out of insecurity and fear. Yeah. That's another layer of protection. Well, this is who I am, like, woof, boom, can't get near me. You're like, no, it's more like, this is who I am, kind of.
Yeah.
I get on a bit
You've
flawed.
done this. This is what you were talking about a little bit with the shadow work, innit? Like, it's honouring those bits that we...
There's soft spots, the tender bits where people can poke you, and it's like, oh, I feel that, I feel it.
I know exactly what you mean.
And rather than going, I need to do some inquiries, I was being aware of it and being like, oh yeah, like, I'm that too. And the chap who didn't let me on the train, have I been in a situation where
you're not coming in this 5 days, you're 2 days later.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
You can't come in, why not? You're a day late.
Because it didn't fit.
You're a day late. It's like, you missed 2, it's like too late. Whereas, have I done that? Yeah, of course I have.
Yeah.
Have I done the same thing?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little poke at me. However, I just think that I'd love to talk about enoughness, and it's not spoken about enough on social media, I think, because it can get a bit airy-fairy and a bit fluffy. Or you're in the other camp where it's much like, yep, you're never enough, you just got to crack on, you got to keep... And it's always a bloke mentality generally.
Yeah.
Nah, because then you'll stop trying to prove yourself. To who? Who am I prove myself to now? That randomer on Facebook. I don't give a fuck. We're trying to prove myself to myself. And I was thinking, one more thing about the train is, I got on the train, a Northern Line, and I was like, flipping out, this reminds me of travelling to Newcastle. The same train station, there were smiles the same, the seats were the same. And then I always used to listen to Dire Straits on the way to Newcastle. And Dire Straits just came on, Sultans of Swing, and I was a bit like, it's a bit weird, but I started reminiscing a lot about the past and thinking about the journeys I had up there and different things.
It's crazy that, have you seen that, I think it's called Your World, This Is Your World, something with Will Smith at the minute.
Oh, on Netflix.
Unreal. I recommend.
My brother's kicked me out of his Netflix account, so fuck him as well.
Will Smith recent, but still he's a legend. But there's this guy, right? And he lost his sight. And about 10 minutes in, you have no idea, you would never ever think this dude has lost his sight. He's now using every sense, sound, feel, smell, right? He knows snow is on the mountain before anyone sees it. Mad. And we're ignorant to think these senses ain't just as powerful as sight, right? But smell is linked straight to your memory box.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
Yeah. Taste.
The smell of a train seat.
Straight to your memory box. In fact, it's more powerful than anything else to create memory as smells and sounds. That's what he was saying.
No offense to the Northern Line as well, but when I travel to London it's a different kind of train. With is it Great Western or whatever? Nice train. The Northern Lines are usually a bit rickety.
Come on, man. You look at the direction you're going. we're not ordering people paying enough.
This sort of blue, crappy seat I was on, with some weird orange
like
pattern.
Bus.
And it was like that. And it just smelled like flipping...
Northerners.
And it reminded me, I was sort of reminiscing. I think, you start thinking, God, I've come a long way since I was travelling up there. And if you'd have told me I'd have what I have now, I'd probably be like, well, whatever. Or if I felt like I feel now, like that would have been a pipe dream. But it's amazing how you get there and you're still looking, what's next? But I just like to think, hopefully now I'm looking at what's next from a place of desire.
I'm at, but I'm open for more.
Yeah, it's like, this could go somewhere rather than, oh my God, like if I do this, if I achieve this, then wow, look at me, I'm enough, aren't I? I can prove it to myself. But you never get enough proof to fill that little hole in you. That has to be done through, I think, through a little bit of understanding and not even accepting, but there's an element of that, but understanding who you are and being okay with that and being comfortable with that. Surely, what's this whole journey of life about? You just build up all these weird layers from a kid to an adult, go through all these weird experiences. You protect yourself from many things in many ways.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we're all doing it. It's like, wow. But underneath, you've got to know who you are and what you're about.
And that's the difference in reputation and character.
There you go. Anyway, we've been a long time. Mark's flipping gone to Greg's, It's popping out for 5. just tap the camera on the way out.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I think
No, I
listen
did.
to this
Yeah,
one
nice
again.
long one today.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sponsored by Trip CBD infused elderflower mint, just for you. I had to get it in there. They're paying us to put that on there.
Well, it better have now you've done it.
Oh shit! Yeah, hang on.
Where's the book?
Where's the book? I ain't got one. Anyway, see you later.
Peace.